Interesting idea for a stream. I had found this tool that lets you rank your favorite Pokemon based on each type and generation of the game, and then pick a favorite for each row and column of the chart. And I thought it'd be an interesting idea to take this tool, use the favorites, and then make a Pokemon Showdown team out of them, and then battle one of my friends with it. I messaged my friend Dudeface to find out if he wanted to do it, and he said yeah, so we both went live and started ranking. After the ranking, we had to start building our teams. This was sort of difficult, as a lot of the Pokemon ranked as favorites were not available in Generation 9, making them unusable. However, I did eventually manage to get a lineup of Crocodile, Paldean Wooper, Regieleki, Dragapult, Frostlass, and Volcarona. A bit of an odd lineup, but I could certainly work with it. The way the team works is fairly simple. First, you send out Wooper and use Spikes, Toxic Spikes, and Stealth Rock, using Rest whenever necessary to heal. Focus Sash helps it not die immediately, and Water Absorb makes sure its water weakness is negated, instead healing him. After setting up with Wooper, there's a lot of options on things to send in. Crocodile, for example, has Moxie and Home Claws to help power up its attacks, making it hit very hard with attacks like Crunch and Earthquake. Other Pokemon had their benefits too, so I would pretty much just adapt to whatever Dudeface tried to do and counter as needed. And after a while, I did manage to win most of these fights. Later that night, I felt a little bad and also wanted to fight Dudeface more, so I made a post on Twitter offering him a rematch. I am formally proposing a Pokemon rematch against Dudeface. 30 minutes to make a team, and then we fight. It'll have to be at least a little bit different from the last fight. September 2nd, 2023, we can discuss the time. I advise you to prepare, and I hope to hear from you again in due time. And a little while later, he accepted. We did eventually agree to just build the teams on our own time up until the fight. Later on, Dudeface said that he had a coach to help him make a team for the fight. This may have been a bit concerning, but I figured, I'm the better Pokemon player. I don't need a coach. I'll be fine. In hindsight, that is not true. Cut to September 1st, and I have no team the day before the fight. Despite this, I still thought I'd be alright, and so I put together a team consisting of Scizor, Frostlass, Crocodile, Regieleki, Amoonguss, and hold on.
Hydreigon.
This certainly wasn't the best team, but it was definitely a team I could work with to some extent. Admittedly unsure of if I was going to win this battle, I logged off and just chilled out until the fight the next evening. Opening my eyes, I'm blinded by light, and I check my phone and oh my god, 6:02 p.m. I was late to the fight. I messaged Dudeface to let him know that I'm not dead, and I start to log on for the fight. Desperately logging on, I didn't even have time to set up my stream before we got into the fights. It was best of 3, and he won 2-1. I simply didn't make the right choices of attacks and who to send out. He defeated me, and we both won an instance of us fighting. A week later, Dudeface uploaded a video recapping everything that had happened thus far. It's a really good video. But I did take one issue with it. I didn't win both times. And later that day, I approached him with an offer. Another rematch, but this time a little bit different. Hello, sir.
Hello? Hey.
Alright.
Hey.
Alright, Dudeface. So,
Yeah.
I just saw the video that you recently released about how you beat me in Pokemon Showdown.
Where I beat your ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Banger video.
That one.
Good job.
Yeah.
But I will say right now, there was one major problem that I took with the video.
What was the problem?
I didn't win. That's
That
the
is-
real big
I feel like
issue.
that was the best part of the video, though.
I mean, you might, but I'll personally and respectfully disagree with you. So I bring you into this call today, Dudeface.
Right.
You're so stupid. I am asking you for one final rematch for all of the marbles.
All of the marbles.
Yes. This is it, alright? I've won I've won a singular little event, you won one as well. This is it. We finish it with one final battle. First to 10, what do you say?
Okay.
Alright. So there is one more important thing that I must say. The format won't just be like, anything goes.
Right.
I propose we use the official, VGC format.
VGC format.
Yeah, so, actual competitive Pokemon format.
Okay.
It is September 9th right now. I suppose we battle on the 16th.
Sounds good.
Alright. I will
Alright.
see you then, sir. I knew this time that I could not afford to mess up. Immediately, I messaged my friend and coach Guinea, asking for help on building a team. While she said that she wasn't extremely experienced in VGC, she said she was willing to help out however she could. A few days later, Guinea presented the team consisting of Urshifu, Chien-Pao, Farigiraf, Ursaluna, Amoonguss, and Iron Hands. The team is quite simple. Simply send in Farigiraf and Ursaluna, set up Trick Room, and then use Earthquake to sweep. I later disregarded this information, but that's for later. Farigiraf had Dazzling Gleam, Hyper Voice, and Imprison to shut down other Trick Room users. Ursaluna also had Swords Dance to raise attack, and a Burn Orb to get some extra damage on Facade, and had Protect in case it needed to pivot towards defense. Everything else was fairly simple. Amoonguss was good for support, and everything else just did a lot of damage. About as prepared as I could be, I went into the next set of fights confident that I could beat Dudeface. The first two fights were simple enough. Just use Ursaluna, Iron Hands, and Amoonguss whenever I needed. However, around 5 fights in, Dudeface wanted an intermission to change some stuff. I agreed, so we had 5 minutes. Up until this point, though, I was scared that Chien-Pao wasn't being put to good enough use, and the same goes for Ursaluna. He just wasn't being used well. Once we hit intermission, I frantically called Guinea, expressing my concern about the team, and then she told me to just use Trick Room and Ursaluna more. On top of that, we replaced Imprison on Farigiraf with Protect to help it pivot to defense, and this did wonders. The way I set this up was fairly simple. Use Trick Room and Swords Dance on turn 1 to make Ursaluna move in first and hit harder. After that, use Protect on Farigiraf and Earthquake on Ursaluna, sweeping Dudeface's team. Repeat this process and he crumbled. He tried to recover, but he had no counter. On September 30th, I agreed to battle Dudeface one last time. The score had been 2-1, but it was pretty much 2-2 because of this agreement. We had agreed to fight on October 6th. I knew this would be my hardest fight yet, so I'd have to take a lot more time deciding my team members. I knew I wanted some way to use Reversal, a move that has its base power rise depending on the user's health, maxing out at 200 on 1 HP. After talking it over with Guinea, we concluded that a Sneasel with Reversal, Swords Dance, Fake Out, and Dire Claw would all work great, with a Focus Sash and the ability Unburden. The idea is that Focus Sash will activate and then Unburden will double my speed, making me move first with Reversal every single time. Once Sneasler dies, I have some options on who to send in. Glasgow, for example, has a Toxic Orb with Poison Heal for passive healing, Earthquake for stab, Facade to get extra use out of the Toxic Orb, and Agility to make it move faster, and Toxic Spikes for some extra setup. Tropius is also a good option, having the Harvest ability and an Ogloff Berry for infinite healing once you add in Sunny Day. Solar Blade can benefit from Sunny Day being used in one turn, and Fly is also just generally a good attack. Leaf Blade's high crit ratio will also prove to be helpful. However, after taking this team into testing, I found 2 major issues. First of all, Sneasler could easily be countered by entry hazards. Focus Sash requires the Pokemon to be on full HP at the moment of the attack for it to work, and entry hazards immediately made Sneasler useless. The second issue is that Tropius just wasn't hitting hard enough, even with stab super effective moves. Unfortunately, only Tropius' problem could be easily fixed. I just took out a lot of the EVs on his health and put them into attack instead. The best I could do for Sneasler is just hope that Dudeface didn't bring any entry hazards into the battle. This entire time, Dudeface had no idea that I was making such an odd team. In fact, he thought I was only bringing 1 Pokemon to the fight. Basically, I was in a call with Guinea and Dudeface at the time, and Dudeface was muted. Except I knew this guy was there, just listening in on my team building plans. So I decided to screw with him a little bit. Here's how that went. Okay, so what if I add on Agility, right? Because that'll raise the speed by 2 stages. And then close combat, because that with the 3 raised attack from the side effect of crunch. That would be 389 damage, which is pretty good. Bro, where'd Dudeface go? Bro is gone and I'm scared. Yeah. He's mute, bro. He is listening in on my advanced tactics right now. I'm just giving him this information. This is crazy.
Yeah, no. How about you go on those advanced tactics real quick? Those are really good.
Oh, okay. Here, so Dudeface, you're not gonna be able to counter this, bro. Okay,
Yo,
so
y'all wanna see my Google Doc? Google Doc.
Sure. Here, hold on. Yeah, let's see this Google Doc, bro.
Yeah. Let's see it.
My Google Doc.
Yeah.
Let's see this Google Doc.
That sounds good.
Alright, yeah, let's see. Okay. Watch stream. Let's see. I'm near Boca TikTok. No! No! The best part of all of this is that at one point I said that Serene Grace's typing was pretty good, and this man just agreed with me. By this point, I think he legitimately believed everything I was saying. This was a perfect situation, as now he's preparing for whatever Pokemon Serene Grace is supposed to be. So, Dudeface revealed to me later on that he knew I wasn't bringing a Pokemon called Serene Grace to the fight, but he did expect me to bring a Koraidon, which I guess is something. Not really important, but I just thought I'd add it in. I did not in fact fool this man like I initially thought. After the team was done, I consulted Guinea, and she certainly had some things to say about the team. To sum it up, she said that while she thought the team was good, Sneasler was just too unreliable, and the rest of it didn't have much cohesion. Instead, she thought it would be better to make a team based around Sun. So let me show you the new team, consisting of Koraidon, Walking Wake, Kingambit, Chi-Yu, Tropius, and Gliscor. Koraidon sets up Sun with Heat Rock to make it last a few turns longer, has some good stab moves, and then U-turn to easily switch out and deal damage at the same time. Walking Wake is different from most water types as it is buffed when sunlight. It really just has its stats raised, particularly speed, but it still moves faster. Kingambit's ability, Supreme Overlord, causes its attack to be raised by 10% for every Pokemon on the team that's fainted, so already strong attacks like Iron Head are going to be made even stronger. Chi-Yu's ability is also pretty useful, dropping the opponent's special defense by 25%. And with a very solid special attack stat, moves like Overheat and Dark Pulse are going to do ridiculous damage. After going over how the team worked earlier that day, I mentally prepared for the fights ahead, and they were certainly interesting. After explaining the team a bit on stream, Dudeface and I started our fights. I led with Koraidon and he leads with Fluttermane. Not the best matchup given that Fluttermane is part Fairy and Koraidon is part Dragon, but I Terrestrialize and Flare Blitz and almost kill it in one hit. It lives on 1 HP because of Focus Sash and fires back with Shadow Ball. This nearly kills Koraidon. Basically, Fluttermane's ability, Photosynthesis, causes the highest stat to be raised by 30% or 50% if it's speed, but that's not important in this case. Because Dudeface likely put a ton of EVs in the special attack, the already high attack was raised even higher, causing Shadow Ball to nearly one-hit an insanely bulky Pokemon, without even having a type advantage. After Fluttermane died of burn damage, Dudeface switched into Toxapex. This Pokemon is the most annoying thing I've ever had to deal with in the 10 years I've played Pokemon. First off, this thing is water poison. I knew I could switch into Tropius and just Solar Blade it to death, right? No, it's not that simple. You see, the poison resisted grass, cancelling out the grass weakness it would have had from water, making my 125 base power Solar Blade attacks do nothing but neutral hits. On top of that, this man decided to put all of his EVs into defense and HP, making my attacks even weaker. And to top it all off, he gave Toxapex a Rocky Helmet and Regenerator, an ability that makes it so when it switches out, it heals a third of its health. After eventually killing Toxapex, Dudeface sends in Zapdos, dealing neutral hits. It's not a problem for the moment, but I am concerned about its damage and me already being poisoned. While Tropius did have Harvest and Agua Berry, this could only do so much in healing, and a good chunk of the healing was negated by poison. I'd have to waste a turn to heal if things got dire, and after a couple of hits, Dudeface switches to Volcarona. I didn't want to switch out Tropius, but I really had nothing to fight it other than Walking Wake. After predicting a fire attack, I protected and switched into Walking Wake. Dudeface, knowing that I had a water type against his fire type, still decided to waste his Terra and Terrestrialize into fire. Quickly took care of that, and Dudeface sends in Dragonite. After calling out for using the same balls joke twice, Dragon D's, you already made that joke, bro. Walking Wake died to an Earthquake from Dragonite. This was my very first dangerous matchup, as I had no real answers to deal with Dragonite easily. I had no Ice, Electric, or Fairy moves, and 2 of my Pokemon with Dragon attacks are now dead. Unsure of what to do, I send in Gliscor, praying for a way out. I protect for 1 turn and use Facade once poisoned, which does a good amount of damage. After using Facade again, Dudeface switches into Chiempao. I used Stealth Rock, not anticipating the switch in, and I paid the price. Chiempao outsped me and did 4 times super effective damage with Icicle Crash. What's even more disappointing is that Guinea told me this before the fight started.
Alright, so something to note is that Tropius and Gliscor are both 4 times weak to ice. Okay? Keep them away from ice. Very important.
Alright, cool. I completely forgot that in these fights. Running out of options, I send in King Gambit. It's not the worst option to send in, or so I thought at the time. After this, Dudeface switched back to Zapdos, and I started trying to kill it. He switches back to Chien-Pao and kills King Gambit with another 4 times weak attack. This fight seems just about over. I'm down to a 2v3, one of which is weak to Chien-Pao and is poisoned, and the other one likely unable to hold out against 3 Pokemon. The chances of me winning were slim, but not zero. Panicking, I switch into Chi-Yu and start trying to deal as much damage as I could. Both Chien-Pao and Zapdos died to Flamethrower, and over the course of 2 turns, the fight almost completely turned back towards my favor. While both my Pokemon were poisoned, I could see a way out. Dudeface, completely out of options, sent in Dragonite. After taking damage from Stealth Rock, he was outsped and got hit with Flamethrower. I'd won the first fight, but it was way too close for comfort. Dudeface said he just made this team on his own since his coach wasn't responding to him, and I could tell it wasn't going to be an easy fight. Despite him having not played Pokemon since 2021, he had made a very strong team on his own. The fights were far from over though, and before I had time to even process the comeback, we got into the next fight. I led with Koraidon again, while Dudeface led with Chien-Pao. While this might be a problem, I did outspeed and kill it in one hit with a super effective Flare Blitz. And then he sends in Flutter Mane, which I switch into Chi-Yu for. In retrospect, this was a terrible idea, but I did survive one Moonblast hit despite the raised special attack. He switched into Volcarona, which I quickly dealt with, and then he sends in Toxapex. I didn't quite know it yet, I technically did have a way to quickly kill Toxapex. Psychic on Chi-Yu was super effective against poison, but I was locked in using Dark Pulse because of Choice Scarf. While I did just have to switch out and switch back in, I didn't do that for right now, and we'll get back to that later. When Toxapex switches in, I switch to Tropius and start trying to chip away at it. And then he switches into Flutter Mane. This is a problem for a couple of reasons. First of all, I have to start trying to fight another Pokemon, and while I almost do kill it in one hit, it's still pretty annoying. And next up, Toxapex has the ability Regenerator. Like we mentioned before, heals it a lot. Already bulky Pokemon will have more health when I have to fight it again. After almost one-hitting Flutter Mane, Tropius died, and I switch into Gliscor and try to go for an Earthquake. Dudeface switches into Zapdos before I could do this though, making it do literally nothing. After making some comments about Dudeface's relationship with his parents. Dudeface. Yeah, most parents really hate him. I start spamming Facade to take out Zapdos. He switches into Dragonite, and eventually I switch into Walking Wake to try and land a Draco Meteor. Then he switches out to Toxapex and the Draco Meteor missed. After switching into King Gambit, this man switches back to Dragonite and starts spamming Roost. In hindsight, I should have just boosted with Swords Dance during this time and then started using physical moves, but I kept spamming attacks despite him just healing. After King Gambit died, I sent in Koraidon and used Dragon Claw to kill Dragonite. He sends Toxapex back in and Koraidon dies of poison while trying to kill Toxapex. I'm Walking Wake, searching for a way out, but I use Draco Meteor and finally kill it. Back on even ground for a few seconds before Walking Wake died of poison damage. Sending in Chi-Yu, I got poisoned and used Dark Pulse to kill both Zapdos and Flutter Mane, winning me the second fight. After another 30 minutes of these back and forth fights, we knew that the first to 10 scoring we had originally agreed on simply wouldn't work. We would be there for way too long. So we agreed at one point that winner takes all. Right before this, we also changed up some things on our team. I had a dual Wing Beat to Gliscor since I wanted a stab flying move, and it was slightly stronger than Wing Attack, but I hardly ever found myself clicking it, so I don't think it made a huge difference in retrospect. While I only changed Gliscor though, Dudeface made a change that was a lot more concerning. One of the main problems was that he now had Dazzling Gleam on Flutter Mane as an extra fairy option. 2 of my Pokemon are Dragon types. Once we actually got into the fight, I led with Koraidon, he led with Dragonite. I expected Dragon Claw to one hit, except it only did around half, and Dudeface fires back with Draco Meteor, which nearly killed Koraidon. By this point, we were both exhausted. We had fought nearly once every week for the last month, talking with coaches, practicing, strategizing, optimizing EV spreads, reviewing damage calcs. Everything we had done in the last month had all led up to this fight. And yet I was throwing it all away, making horrible decisions, like sending in my Fire type to go against a Water type with Hydro Pump. Through the early and mid game, I still managed to stand my ground. He would take out a Pokemon, and then I'd fire back and kill one of his. But just as quickly as I evened the playing field, I started losing ground. I send in Chi-Yu to try and take out Dudeface's Chien-Pao and almost die of Ice Spinner. I fire back with Overheat and kill, but now I'm low on HP and Dudeface sends in Flutter Mane, a Fairy type against my Dark type Chi-Yu. I overheat and it does about half, and then he uses Calm Mind, and yet I still decided to stick with Chi-Yu and spam Overheat, and just as it does less damage and Flutter Mane only grows stronger, it lets off a Moonblast, killing Chi-Yu. Then I send in King Gambit, another Dark type that's weak to Flutter Mane. It dies by Moonblast. By this point, I'm down to 2 options, Tropius and Walking Wake. Tropius isn't nearly as strong due to not having Sun set up, and Walking Wake will die to Fluttermane's attacks in an instant. I send in Walking Wake. Trying to go in for a Flamethrower, Fluttermane outspeeds and lands a Moonblast. Sleep within the next year.
Yeah, please! Yeah.
It was a 1v3. Only my mediocre Tropius versus 3 very strong Pokemon. Completely out of options, I send in Tropius. I try to go for a Synthesis, predicting an attack. Fluttermane outspeeds and lands Moonblast, and I heal back up. It's not enough. I protect, and Dudeface just keeps firing off Moonblast after Moonblast. And even once that runs out, he has options like Dazzling Gleam. I wasn't going to survive. I try to charge up a Solar Blade, and I'm knocked down to about a third of my HP. I'll go off Berry heals, but it's not enough. I click Solar Blade and accept defeat. I'll watch Moonblast connect one last time, and watch Tropius' HP fall to 0. I had lost.
GG! GG!
Oh my god, dude.
GG, dude.
Okay.
I'm so happy right now.
Good. Each.
I
Okay.
don't think you understand how much.
Dudeface, I need to give you a little speech for everybody watching on both streams. For Dudeface, to my friends, my family, my coach, the people who have helped me along this way, I must say, thank you all. Thank you, Dudeface, for agreeing to, fight me in a game about virtual creatures for the last, month. It's been an insane rivalry over the course of the last, I think it started late August, and it's early October now, I must say. You've put up amazing fights every single time. Given that you made this team this morning, I was, to be quite frank, concerned, early on. In the early matches, it was taking me a long time to kill your team. And I will say, you getting Dazzling Gleam and making extra changes just made it stronger.
Yeah.
There were certainly plays that I could have done better, but through it all, I must say, you did very well. Hey, I just wanted to ask, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. It helps me out and I really do appreciate it. Join my Discord in the description and check out Dudeface's video on the first couple of fights. Thanks for watching this video.